you already know. It's Someone TV Media, State of Mind. Just covering the state of mind of the people and the state and what we own and what we really trying to strive for out here. I think since I started a lot of these, I don't even know what I'm calling them, but just, I guess, let me say, hold on. Since I started really trying to find a platform to voice what needs to be voiced in the world on my own terms without it having no kind of conditions to it, you know what I'm saying, where I could just cover, I can't, you know what I'm saying, I could just cover what I want to cover, not say what I want to say, but kind of cover a broad subject matter base and to be able to get some feedback and talk with people. And this is something that I've been doing for a long time, not just recently. In the last 5 years, I've just come into some knowledge of some other things that is just the magnitude of all of it. And I'm pretty sure you probably already heard of it before, but the magnitude of it all and its truth is crazy, like for real. And a lot of the stuff that I was covering in the prior videos with y'all was like the Citizens Union and not voting and not doing this. And I think what we're coming up with is more of a strategy to now base what we really trying to do. And I don't think it's going to be Citizens Union no more for legality, for reasons, for lawful reasons and unlawful reasons, you know what I'm saying? And we just got to really start standing on the facts and who we are and what's going on. And I'm going to just get right to it. When you're dealing with the system as a whole, doesn't matter how, it's all about the terms. It's all about the terms. And a lot of times people don't know the terms. And then when I mean terms, I'm talking about people don't know the definition of the words that's being used to define what is being said. So basically, your own words is being used to ensnare you into such a crazy contract with no benefit to it besides you having the benefit of being able to sign as the person that you think you are. You still end up paying or doing something that you don't want to do, and people have been so used to this. This stuff has been going on for so long that everybody thinks this is normalities. But even though the Bible is, even though the controllers have tried to pervert the truth in the Bible, and they have, and the way they educate the people and curve their understanding of the world prevents them from drawing easier conclusions. Now, we don't say that you can't come to these conclusions, but it makes it harder when you're closing off certain brain waves. They're shutting down certain DNA receptors, lowering your vibrational frequency resonance, doing everything in their power to reverse engineer your natural godlike complexes. And the Most High, in reference, and what we know it as, is a humanistic term, which means it cannot be equated with the All, which is the creator of all things, the supreme being, the Most High. It cannot be equated with that. It's impossible. It's impossible. But I think our understanding of what we've been taught has been intentionally given to us by the deceivers. And a lot of times people are like, man, you just jumped from contract, now you're talking about the court, now you're talking about the Bible. Like, what's going on? All of this stuff is intertwined. All of this stuff, once you start going into this stuff, all of this stuff is intertwined. People are actually trying to get you to sign away your soul. That's what this is all about. This is no fake game. This is no you got to wait for the flying locusts. and the 7 bowls of wrath. This ain't none of that, dog. It's already going on. You don't even understand how they're perpetuating this kind of threat on our people and creating a divisiveness amongst the peoples of the earth in such a manner that people have forgotten who the hell they are. And excuse my language, because I'm not even supposed to be known here. But, yeah, we're live. But that's what's going on. And the church is involved, but are they speaking out? Why would they speak out when they're filed under some 50, and don't quote me on the exact name, but the people that know, they know what I'm talking about. 503, some the 1C thing where you don't have to pay taxes and all the money. So where is the revenue that people are giving to the church if the church is not subject to no taxes besides building the big church and the reverend driving in his stuff because he's able to draw some kind of money from this? Let's not, and nobody's knocking that. Nobody's knocking that he shouldn't be compensated for what he's doing, but I think that has to be determined by the people in which that gives that money, and that needs to be out in the open, not behind closed doors with the state, which becomes another third party. And you see how we're hopping from religion back to business and going back to contract law. You see how it's all entwined because they're trying to, what they're basically trying to do, and this is why the International Monetary Fund is a part of it, and the World Bank is a part of it. Everybody's a part of it. Let's just be out here on the forefront. A lot of these bureaucrats or whatever you want to call these people, the whistleblowers, they've been sitting in positions of power for so long and finding out what's really going on, and they're getting it out to the people that can actually do something about it, and that's us. And if we don't stand up, all of their sacrifices go in vain. For real. Because they're trying to get you to pledge. You basically already pledged your physical body. They've destroyed everybody's mind, including mine. And it was a rebuilding that brought me back to such an understanding that let me know that there's more building to do. And even since just the last video and since I last saw y'all on our last broadcast, we had our stance was very much different. But the world and life is not limited to you being restricted to a certain ideology because it's an ideology that you once stood on. Once you find irrefutable evidence to show that the truth that stands succeeds the principle in which it becomes a principle then, and no longer an ideology or a philosophy, and it's no longer even considered a truth. Does that take away from the integrity of the person? No, because it's all about the evolution of the mind. It's all about the growth. And in order for you to learn truly, you have to, without a teacher, you have to make those mistakes. And you'll learn where the right curve takes place. And these things have to be done on an individual basis. It's nothing that you can consolidate in a school and put into a curriculum for people to naturally understand and in their well state of being based on the science and the biochemical reactions and everything that is associated with the human body. It has to be taught as by its natural causes, by the natural actions of the world. And you see that in the arts that we create when we have the horsepower in the car, but it used to be horses. And we have the birds, but our planes are an imitation of that. And our boats are an imitation of the fish and submarines and the ducks. And we can do this all day forever. So you see how the reflection of light and the naturalness of it all occurs. The teaching also has to happen. When you say that this is the sole thing and this is that and this is how it's going to be and this is what, it can't be because it has to be an agreement of the parties is what they say in trust law. But what I would say, just to say the least, that I think people govern within themselves and police themselves well when there is not, even when there's an affliction. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to generate revenue and capitalize off a disagreement of the parties. And if that leads to somebody fighting and dying and shooting, yes, maybe that's what needs to happen. That's not what we want to happen. But you got to understand that's a natural cause of life, which means if a tiger and a Doberman are left in the woods and animals break free out of the zoo, they become an immediate threat, not intentionally, to the surrounding environment, because now they are no longer in their environment, no longer in their natural state. So the exchanging of territories will have to go through this conflict and resolve it through either rising and dying or coming to some kind of agreement. And without that agreement, the fight continues. But more than likely, people will find lines to divide themselves and stay on that and know that the borderlines will be the lines where the conflict will assume. And you can see that on the Gaza Strip. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. They got them people over there fighting over a land. They got our people over here running around like, oh, we the Hebrew Israelites, and we the people. Everybody knows the black people are the people, but the most important part about what's going on is we forget that the white brother is our twin brother. And I'm going to say that again, our twin brother. These are the principalities in which we wrestle with. Their genetic makeup is the exact opposite, in which is what is missing in the black genetic makeup. And you can ask scientists this. And if they haven't found out, they need to already know. Or you've just been noticed. Study the human genome. You got people over here, what is his name? Craig Venter in 2010. He created a artificial life from a synthetic cell. And I don't even want to get into that because I want to get back into what I'm saying about how they got people in the Gaza Strip and then you got black and white people going at it, and we're brothers. Let's just say the least. Let's state the facts. And this can be offensive to whoever it wants to be offensive to, and it's only because of our own ignorance and our own lack of understanding that we were deceived into these mistrust by not our own people, but by us not never questioning the facts, us not reasserting ourselves in the power and the dominion that was given to us over the earth by the Most High. And that's every living single being has a right to the estate of the earth. And no jurisdiction, unless consented to by state, federal, international, or whatever jurisdiction you want to use, by any jurisdiction, does you have any right, by the Vatican, the Pope, I don't care who you are, you have no right, without full disclosure, to try to ensnare the people for consent, unless you are the deceiver. And when we acknowledge that fact, and we accept that as fact, then we recognize that we are the true children of the Most High. And that allows us, and that grants us the authority as executor and beneficiaries on this earth to establish that order, that common law, that universal principle. We cannot disengage. This will be the largest exodus of people. And it won't just be the Hebrew Israelites this time. We're going to free some Asians. We're going to free some of our Puerto Rican brothers, some of all of our brothers from the 12 tribes, some of our Haitians, some of our Dominicans. See, people don't even know. When you start mapping out the DNA, the facts come out. Why do you think they're trying to preserve their bloodline in a certain fashion and keep yours divided and all mixed up so that when you do try to do the genealogy, you run into the South. You might get something in Africa because they got technology now. They got a dude in North Carolina, a black dude in North Carolina, his Y chromosome extended 330,000 years. They're not publicizing that fact because it shits on the history and the ideals and the philosophies in which they tried to project on us from knowledge that was given to us all inherently, and they stole it and made it in a state of royalty for themselves. We both have taken possession of this earth, and I'm talking about our white and the black brothers, our twin brothers. We both had our chance to have rulership, and we have done the same thing to one another in quite the same, the latter the other, and so forth and so forth and so on. Now the judgment that must be rendered must come from a third party. And that third party is so powerful that people will try to argue its judgment. And you can't argue the judgment of the truth because the truth stands. So who are you and what authority? You cannot even speak under the truth. And because of your deception, you have no right and no respect to such a light of truth. And your darkness consumes you. So with that said, in fact, this is why they would want to stir up World War III. This is why everything is so esoteric. This is why everything is so hidden. But they told you it was revelations, right? People are not really aroused to the awakening of what is occurring within the human consciousness. And if they can continue to oppress, and oppress not mean the physical, if we can oppress your spirit from obtaining the physical consciousness and enlightenment of a christening that will allow you to shed light on the darkness in which they try to consume you with, to expose them for the very demonic demons they are as they reverse engineer the pure powers and energies of the world using sorcery and various magic sciences. Why they discourage you to do the same. And I'll also discourage you to do the same. We got Qigong, Tai Chi, various eternal arts that they don't never want to see mentioned. They created all these diseases. Any disease that's been created on this planet can't be rectified because it's been made on this planet by chemicals. What do you mean we can't find such? It's always the opposites attract. And we know the same does the same to repel. The natural laws apply, and they know that, and they're hiding the universal, and they're hiding the natural truth, the natural law. And they're killing the spirit of the people that possess the knowledge that do. These laws don't apply to you unless you have a contract with them. You have a license, you have a contract with them. You got state place, you got a contract with them. You got a social security number, you got a contract with them. You can't argue no subject matter jurisdiction. You can't go up in there and hire Robert Shapiro. You can't go up in there and hire, oh, I got my lawyer, I got my Jew lawyer, and he good, and he gonna beat the case. Really? Well, how about suing him for fraud? Because he has an oath to the law society and bars or whoever he has, whichever those societies they represent, but they have that oath as officers to the court first before duty to a client. And you ask them that. Freedom of Information Request Act. You ask them that. If you are functioning as a government agent, and that means a government agent meaning you are your legal name, the corporation, is assumed as such because it's not refuted. No one refutes the claim that you are considered the public trustee in the name in which the bond, which was made from the birth certificate, which was turned into a contract with a security interest in it, bonded, and you allowed the privileges of the contract that allows you to do the things that you do based on the rules and regulations, and you are subject to such. But the only thing is, a man cannot be subject to such things. Because if you're saying that the lawful executor and beneficiary of me had the right to transfer my rights and property over to the state, my commonwealth of the earth in which I inherited from the Most High, and every one of us has inherited this earth from the Most High. This is the real game of church. This is the real game of revelations. This is the real what you're talking about. There's more Davids. There's more Solomons. There's more Moses to come. But they don't want you to become that person. There's more Christ to come. Of course. Of course it's the second coming. But not in which and what you think you understand. It'll be the return of the consciousness in which that exists that helped exemplify the power in which was witnessed and attested to by the people that was there. That someone could be y'all. Someone could be me. Any one of y'all out there. But if we are not allowed to resonate at the frequency that allows the consciousness to gravitate to such heights, then we cannot acquire such knowledge to know how to possess the land and rule it in a peaceful manner, because it can be done with the power. I don't care